Hey guys, Voted5829 here. Today I wanted to talk about consistency and how that can help you become a better player. So, for me, consistency is keeping the same battle plan and the same core of your list, um, and for an extended period of time, so that you can learn the ins and outs of your list and the interactions of your units and how it all fits together, and you work all the kinks out and everything like that. The reason I see it is a really good thing to have is because it helps you iron out all the small details so that you're not wasting time. You're very focused on what you're doing, and you don't have to rewrite your battle plan every game, um, so that you don't have to overthink everything. Um, and so a lot of your stuff goes on autopilot. Um, so the way I like to think about it is like a tree kind of thing. You have your core army, um, and that's the trunk. And your core army is like the bulk of your points, the thing that never changes, um, and just kind of what you build the rest of your list around. And then you have the branches that go off, and they're your different support elements that you can kind of just cherry pick and add on to your core, based on what you need or what you want to feel that day. So, for example, my orcs, um, I run my three boy units in trucks surrounding my bikes with a mega force field, and that's my core. That's what I call the green fist. um, so that's my core, and my different branching elements are units of storm boys or a unit of war buggies, def copters, tank busters, mega knobs. Just whatever additions I have for the points level, and the models for. It's just keeping the green fist constant in my list. Even in smaller points, I still bring 3 units of boys, and the force field. Um, Staying constant like that makes it so that you don't have to spend as much brain power working, trying to figure out what you want to do at the core of your army. So that, like I said, they can go on autopilot, and you can spend more focus on your support elements. So, like when I'm running my green fist, I just have everything move up the board 24 inches turn one. Shooting be damned. And then after I move all that, I take a look at what my supporting units are. If they're mega knobs, I'm running them up alongside them. If they're tank busters, they're going to be flanking my green fist and taking out whatever transports they can shoot at, so that my boys can charge them the insides next turn, or at least weakening it, whatever have you. My storm boys go on the other. Go on a complete opposite side of the board because they're fast enough that they can get over to me in a pinch if I need some support, or they're just good enough to sweep and become the other half of my pincer. And so maintaining the core, allows me to think in those terms, allows me to think about the tactics of my other units, and just lets me have a rock to fall back on in case shit hits the fan and my support units aren't doing what I need them to do. I still have my core, they're still doing their job, and I know exactly how they perform because I've kept them constant, and I've kept them in the same way, same loadouts in multiple games. And I'm suggesting that you as a player, if you're a newer player especially, you keep up with this. Like, you stay constant with this. It'll help you learn your special rules better, or at least the ones you're using. It'll allow you to go into more depth, so that you can, not to be like rules lawyery, but so that you can know the ins and outs of every little tiny rule, and how you can make sure you use that to gain the upper hand against an opponent that may not know those rules as far as you do, and gain some sort of advantage. It's helped me out a couple of times, actually, knowing how the force field interaction, everything like that. And if you ever have any questions about a certain rule, go onto a forum like Daka Daka or War Master or Warseer or Bolter Chainsword. All those are really good sites to gain to ask the community at large their opinion on a certain ruling or other things like that. Anyway, long story short, stay constant. Bring a core that's the bulk of your army to every game you have, and just switch around your supporting elements, and maybe not even switch those around. Just stay with the exact same list. You can learn everything. This is really good for practicing for tournaments. I would suggest that if you're ever deciding to go to a tournament, or you have like a local game store that's running like a one day thing where you're gonna be playing against multiple people, even if it's like kill teams or super small games like that. Play your list the exact same way for 3 to 5 games before you change anything. Because if you change your list, even if you're swapping out a unit after losing horribly one game because that unit didn't perform well, maybe it was just your opponent. If I brought tank busters against a Tyranid army, I'm not going to immediately ditch all my tank busters because my opponent didn't have any vehicles. Tank busters are really good against anything, monster creatures and vehicles, what have you. It's just they might not be performing as well as they could be against Tyranids or any foot slogging army that doesn't have vehicles. That doesn't mean that they're bad. So run run like the same list, like 3 to 5 games before you change anything. Make notes at the end of the game on like what kind of irked you, or like what you felt like you were lacking, and take notes of that first before you change anything, because that might not be the same case in your next couple of games, and you want to make sure you give everything a fair chance. Alright guys, I hope that made sense. Sorry, I'm not. If it didn't make sense, I'm not feeling exactly the best today. I have a really bad headache, but I just want to get that out there, and kind of add that to follow up with my momentum and battle plan videos. So yeah, that's it for consistency. I hope you guys got something out of it, or at least somebody did. And I guess I'll just talk to you later. Bye.